Glad you join us on Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're reaching you from Abuja. I am Ronke Kolawole. The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, says it will remain steadfast to ensure that digital switchover is successful in Nigeria. Director General Ishak Modibo-Kau said this while reacting to query by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, over 2.5 billion naira paid to our signal distributor, Pinnacle Communications Limited, is justifiable. Adebola Brookston Sunday reports.
Integrated Television Services, ITS, and Pinnacle Communications Limited are the two licensed signal distributors in Nigeria in the rollouts of digital switchover, reacting to the allegation that it paid Pinnacle 2.5 billion naira as against 1.7 billion naira paid ITS. Modibo-Kau said it acted in accordance with the provisions of the white paper guiding digital switchover in the country.
That NTA, with 157 transmission sites spread across the country, as potential signal distributor, has a significant advantage. Then C, directed that the National Broadcasting Commission should put in place necessary conditions and ensure that close to level playing field is achieved. That's the clause that we used.
The NBC board said the migration process is in line with the executive order on local contents.
It was a process designed by Nigerians. We didn't get some foreigners telling us how to do it. And because of the amount of work we've done, the amount of controversies we've been able to surmount, other African countries are learning from the Nigerian experience.
To ascertain the quality of the equipment installed, NTA News visited the Mpape sites of Pinnacle, where it found out that the transmitters are liquid-cooled DVB-T2 and its control room for quality of signals being transmitted.
We actually moved into this transition without a dime. And because we believe in this government, we were only paid 6.5 months after installation of Papi and Kaduna. And as you can see from the monitoring here, look at the quality. Ask questions, we're here. So we've been on, we've not gone off air for 1 minute.
Digital switchover was only on paper before the Buhari administration came on board, who ensured the implementation in 2014, and 6 states have been commissioned with 6 orders slated for early 2019. Adebola Brookston Sunday, NTA News.
And talking security now, the Nigeria Police Force has refuted the claims that the death of Michael Adiku, a dismissed policeman and ex-convict and a sectional gang leader who confessed to have killed 22 persons, including a pregnant woman and 9 police personnel during a bank robbery, vindicates the Senate President, Bukola Saraki. A statement signed by the Force Public Relations Officer, Acting DCP Jima Moshood, said all the 5 suspects that indicted and implicated Senator Bukola Saraki are alive and now in court, noting that evidence from 5 suspects are enough to prosecute the Senate President. The Nigeria Police Force stated that Michael Adiku was not murdered but slammed and died in detention while investigation into the Offa Bank robbery was ongoing. The police reiterated that the deceased was among the 5 gang leaders and indicted and implicated the Senate president. In the meantime, the Commissioner of Police FCT Command, Balachi Roma, says the command is putting in place adequate measures to ensure maximum security within the Federal Capital Territory and its environs. He said this while speaking on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria Today. Abdusalam Jibril reports that the Commissioner of Police and other guests discussed challenges of security in the FCT.
Security, whether for an individual, a community, a state, or at national level, has always been a challenge for governments all over the world. In light of the current security challenges in the FCT, the Commissioner of Police, Balachi Roma, reassured residents that security is being improved upon to safeguard lives and properties within the nation's capital.
The security situation in Abuja is stable. Yes, you have reports, 1 or 2 reports, which is normal. We've put in place measures to ensure that maximum security is provided in Abuja.
Other guests on the program, while noting that security is relatively stable, called for the adoption of technology and synergy among security agencies to adequately curb insecurity in the FCT.
The reality is that our national security architecture is state-centric. And that means, of course, attention and priority is given to the city more than the locations outside the city, the perimeter.
As things are present, the number of police operatives, both uniform and undercover agents, are grossly inadequate to police Abuja and its satellite settlements.
They also stressed the need for adequate policing in informal settlements and advised FCT residents to be security conscious at all times. In Abuja, Abdusalam Jibril, NTA News.
Still on security, the visit of the Minister of Defense, Mansour Dan Ali, to South Africa in 2016 to activate the implementation of a memorandum of understanding to strengthen synergy on military operations is gradually yielding results. This is evident with the establishment of a fully functional Defense Industries Association of Nigeria and Defense
Just to redirect our efforts, to make sure that we meet, those needs.
The minister proposed a committee to be set up to draw out focus areas of collaboration, which will require certain agencies to handle the areas of need. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
This is NTA Nationwide. Lagos is our first port of call, and Dotun is standing by with stories from the zone. Hello, Dotun. It's over to you.
And welcome to Lagos. 40 containers of tramadol and other pharmaceutical products with a duty-paid value of 7.3 billion naira has been intercepted by Apapa Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service. Comptroller General of Customs, Hamid Ibrahim Ali, who conducted journalists around the seized items, described the feat as crucial to the nation's economy. Paul Omukago has details.
This is the highest seizure of tramadol drugs made by the Apapa Area Command of Nigeria Customs Service. The question here is, what would have been the fate of users if these drugs had found their way into different outlets around the country? Concerned about the volume of seizures and the reported attempts to influence officers with $412,000, the Comptroller General, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali, disclosed that suspects remotely connected to the crime will be prosecuted.
This is not brought in by foreigners. This is brought in by our own fellow Nigerians.
3 suspects linked to the seizures and the dollars offered as inducement to officers were displayed to the media. The Comptroller General also undertook an inspection of these bags of foreign rice at the Federal Operations Unit, Zone A, Ikeja. In the same vein, it showed the media trailer load of tramadol tablets and the money offered officers by suspects.
This money was given in a bid to get this container released by our own officers. And in the course of doing that, our officers took the money and then reported. We have to go and set up a small task force for the clearance of this and give them the mandate and give them a time frame. These things must be evacuated as quickly as possible.
2 helicopters, one intended for export and the other imported from the United States of America, were among items impounded. In Lagos, Paul Omukagu, NTA News.
631 aircraft Maintenance Depot has won the 2018 Nigerian Air Force Logistics Command Research and Development Competition. The unit designed an aircraft jacking system to excel every other competitors. Rotimi Oluwagbemi has the details.
Winner of 2018 Logistics Command entire. May I invite the team leader of 631 Aircraft Maintenance Depot for their trophy.
Putting all your efforts in something and at the end of the day achieving a result like this makes us feel elated.
The Nigerian Air Force Research and Development Competition started in 2016. The theme for the 2018 competition is Enhancing Research and Development for Sustained Logistics Support in the Nigerian Air Force. Some of the projects on display at the competition include FM German and electronic patient call bell and aircraft jacking system. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who was represented, lauded the motive behind the competition, which is aimed at improving the operational efficiency of the Nigerian Air Force.
This R&D competition is to gear us towards self-reliance. And one of the key components of attaining that feat is transfer of knowledge and skills.
The event featured presentation of certificates to all the participating units, while the team of examiner went home with gifts. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
An initiative aimed at creating climate change awareness through media and entertainment has kicked off in Lagos. Jennifer Igwe reports that the campaign under the umbrella of the Climate Change Action Network is targeting those at the grassroots.
Extreme weather events, flooding, sea level rise and drought are some of the impacts of climate change experienced in many parts of the country and beyond. The Climate Change Action Movement is intended to create awareness on how local communities can adapt to the impact of this phenomenon and understand necessary preventive measures. And the angle the campaign is exploring is media and entertainment.
We want to go to the community. It's a community-based project. Like the big shows, we want to try and bring that to the community so that we're able to get their attention. You know, so if climate change is getting their attention to make them happy, they might begin to listen to us about the dangers of climate change and how urgent these threats are. So that's basically what we're doing. So the entertainment part is just to get their attention, and we also do the cleanup, exercise in their community.
We raise volunteers. We try to get young people to be aware of the situation and get them to commit to helping create awareness on the issue. And that is what this action is going to do.
Entertainers and sportsmen are key players in this climate change education initiative.
I will help in getting other entertainers. I will help in, or if it has to do with me doing a song about it, I will do that and get other people involved.
The Climate Change Action Movement is made up of non-governmental organizations with vision of promoting grassroots awareness on global warming and climate change. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Time now to join Abdullahi Mohammed in our Kaduna Network Center.
Thanks for joining us here in Kaduna. The agencies and other critical stakeholders have concluded a town hall meeting in Kaduna with a view to minimizing youth involvement in election violence. The town hall meeting was a fallout of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps sensitization on the 2019 general elections.
Election violence does not only destroy lives and property, it is inimical to the sustenance of democracy. It is with a view to turn the tide of the scale of violence and spur the youth to reject the temptation of engaging in political thuggery that the NSCDC and its partners put together the town hall meeting. On the lips of many of the community and religious leaders was a watchword to the youths.
So I'm calling upon the youths that they should try to be the politicians themselves than living the whole their lives in following those people at talks.
Commandant, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Kaduna Command, Madu Bunu said the town hall meeting has produced a pool of ideas expected to be utilized in guiding the conduct of players in the 2019 elections.
Election is not a do or die affair. There's no need for any violence during this 2019 election. We need free, fair and credible election.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and its partners expect participants to drive home the message and far-reaching decisions reached at the meeting.
Moving on to defense matters now, participants at an international conference on counter-insurgency in the Boko Haram phenomenon have advocated need for Nigerians to step up on credible information sharing to relevant security agencies. From Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
For almost 10 years now, the major security challenge being faced by Nigeria is the Boko Haram insurgency. The incessant attacks by the terrorist group has claimed thousands of lives, displaced millions of people and destroyed billions of naira worth of property. The problem also crippled economic and social activities in affected areas, mostly in the northeast. However, with the proactive measures put in place by President Muhammad Buhari, the activities of the insurgents have gone down drastically. As the Nigerian armed forces continue to record success in the war fronts, stakeholders are also recommending renewed approach towards achieving a lasting solution. It was in response to this that the Bayero University Center for Islamic Civilization and Interfaith Dialogue organized an international conference with the theme Insurgency and the Phenomenon of Boko Haram in Nigeria. It brought together scholars, traditional rulers, security experts, and political leaders from various parts of the country. President Muhammad Buhari, whose message was delivered by the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Bello Dambazo, reassured the commitment of the federal government in making the nation's territory safe for all.
Government appreciates
education, addressing climatic issues, especially around the Chad Basin. Governors Abdullah Umar Ganduji of Kano and Muhammad Abdullah Abubakar of Bauchi states assured of more support to President Buhari's approach to the Boko Haram and other security challenges facing the country. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
And back in Kaduna, we're going to take a look at gender matters now. Jama'atul Nasrul Islam has joined in the call of women to take up leadership role in national development. Majama Adamu reports that this came to the fore at a conference organized by the group in Kaduna.
Kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement.
My name is Mr. Fasina David Akinola, the headmaster of this school, community primary school. Since my 35 years in service, there is no federal government which have laid their hands upon this feeding program. And I encourage the federal government of this Nigeria to continue in this laudable program, being helpful to the masses.
My name is Mrs. Ogundare. I have a child in this school. I really enjoy this program because I benefit much on it as a mother.
My name is Akshade Victor. Community Primary School, Alawiwe Ibadan. I like to love rice and egg. It makes me happy and healthy.
50. Join us as we celebrate the Golden Jubilee of St. Anne's Secondary School, a premier all-female college where women of distinction are bred, as we lay the foundation stone of an ultra-modern one-story dormitory building and 100 million naira appeal fund launching.
There's also going to be awards of distinction at the Golden Jubilee of St. Anne's Secondary School, Otukpo. Date
22nd to 25th of November 2018.
Venue
St. Anne's Secondary School, Otukpo, Benue State.
Come, let's celebrate St. Anne's Secondary School, Otukpo at 50.
And a light.
Action,
not words.
This message is powered by the Central Planning Committee.
2019 elections are coming. Do not let yourselves be used by politicians. Do not allow your emotions go haywire. Do not be a tool to cause mayhem. No election matter is worth the destruction of lives and properties. Be wise. Don't be a violent Nigerian youth. Don't get involved in any act of violence. Your future is at stake. Shun violence during elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thanks for staying with us on Nationwide. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to sustain efforts at fighting corruption, addressing challenges of security, and significantly enhance the economy, describing such issues as critical to national stability and prosperity. The president said this while granting audience to APC leaders and stakeholders from Benue State, led by former governor of the state, Senator George Akume, on a solidarity visit.
I assure you that my main interest is all Nigerians in all parts of Nigeria. Therefore, anybody who tries to create any impression that I prefer any group across ethnicity or religion, let him dare me by being caught red-handed stealing public funds. Jailing some of the people, I think, will remind those who are sitting there that they may not get away with it finally. How can you go to sleep when your workers have been paid for 6 months? They have to pay rent, they have to look after the family, they have to pay school fees, they have to pay health care, and people still go to sleep and they invest the money elsewhere. We are very proud of what we achieved with the resources available to us. I assure you that the bailout we have given for the salaries and the relief of ordinary Nigerians will continue to tell the governors to pay their salaries and not to cause any diversion. I'm quite aware of what is happening. I'm doing my best through the legal ways to stabilize the situation. But as I said, our campaign objective remains the same: security, economy, and fighting corruption.
Also, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senate Ita Enang, says the Buhari administration has assented to the highest number of bills since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999. The presidential aide, during a briefing at the National Assembly, explained that President Muhammadu Buhari has maintained the best constitutional approach to bills transmitted to him. Senator Enang also explained that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill transmitted to the President on the 8th of November has been examined.
President, you'll agree with me that to the credit of the National Assembly and to the greater credit of Mr. President, this administration and this President has assented to the highest number of bills in the history of this republic from 1999.
He stated that the president, since assumption on office in 2015, has considered more than 100 bills. And now, South Students' Assembly has declared support for President Muhammadu Buhari's ongoing anti-corruption campaign and his re-election to office in 2019 general election. The students made their position known when they visited the Buhari Support Organization office in Abuja.
I'm very much appreciative to His Excellency Mr. President for his commitment towards revamping the education sector of Nigeria. And to be able to continue in such development, the South Student Assembly, under my able leadership by God's grace, was here to meet with the Buhari Support Organization and to make the students' interests known.
The President is very much interested in education, and I have explained all the directives he has given in the education sector, that just recently he ordered the removal of money from the source for the UBEC, the Universal Basic Education Commission, which has been transferred to the Commission by way of making sure that all states have paid their counterpart funding so that they will have available money for project in the education.
The South Students' Assembly say they will ensure President Buhari wins convincingly in the South by taking the anti-corruption crusade to all campuses in the region. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress Broom Platform Media Tour to bring to limelight achievements of the APC administration at all levels has taken off in Jigawa State. Muhammad Kazauri reports that the media Their tour was flagged off in Dutse with inspection of some developmental projects.
The Brook platform is a support group of APC National Secretariat. It is a media-inclined specialist forum aimed at creating public awareness on the achievements of President Buhari and APC political office holders as a whole. The group first port of call is Jigawa State, where the team inspected federal and state government's infrastructural development strides. They include the ongoing Kano to Jigawa to Maiduguri Road project, Dutse to Kwanar Hukuma Federal Highway, and National Mass Housing Project.
We are going around the country now to make it evidential to Nigerians, because as we move on, there is a high level of misinformation by detractors and the opposition parties. So pictures don't lie. We're live now. We're live.
And skill acquisition program initiated and being executed by APC government in the state. Receiving the group on behalf of the state governor, Deputy Governor Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja says the state is fully satisfied with President's development plan for the state and will ensure APC victory at all levels.
We see ourselves as a reflection of what is happening at the federal government. When you talk about agriculture, we embrace the farm mantra of the president. When you talk about finishing heritage infrastructure, that has been our watchword despite pressure.
The inspection continues with agricultural sites. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
Away from that, the next story says the Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, says is committed to providing a level playing ground for political parties in the country. The Executive Director News, Mohammed Labo, said this while receiving members of the National Conscience Party, NCP, on a courtesy visit to the NTA. Mohammed Labo explained that the NTA will continue to focus on its role of providing excellent television services to the country . And fair coverage of the 2019 elections. The presidential aspirant of the NCP acknowledged NTA's balanced and professional coverage of political activities of all political parties and deliberate efforts to unite the country. The NCP is contesting in all positions in the forthcoming general elections.
Putting Nigeria in a united entity, and that we appreciate.
The federal government is to establish 2 additional satellites to support the Nigeria communication satellite. Minister of Communications Adebayo Shitu, who disclosed this at the 6th regular meeting of the National Council on Communication Technology holding in Abuja, said this is towards boosting the telecommunications industry while using ICT as a means of economic diversification. Leko Agbonde reports.
The importance of technology in the development of any economy cannot be overemphasized, and federal government of Nigeria had continued to explore the technology sector as veritable instrument to drive the economy. Minister of Communications Adebayo Shitu says government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari is taking advantage of the potentials that abound in technology to create employment, engage the youth positively, and improve the IGR of government.
NECOMSAT has one satellite as of today. We are making effort to the extent that we want to acquire 2 more satellites. We have negotiated with the Chinese, funding agency. They have agreed to fund it to the tune of $550 million.
Ogun State Governor Ibikule Amosun, while enumerating how the state government has deployed ICT to raise the bar in driving the economy, promised to do more.
We are aligned with the ideas behind the NCCT and are therefore proud to host this meeting to exchange ideas.
Postmaster General BC Adegbuyi enjoins stakeholders to leverage on the opportunities that technology provides to solve human problems.
We're leveraging on technology to reposition the post to assist in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations.
The theme of the meeting is leveraging on ICT as veritable vehicle for economic recovery and growth. In Abeokuta, Lekan Agbonde, NTA News.
FRC and Southwest Summit, a political process. This and other stories as we join Kebbi in Ibadan.
By panelists on the way forward for the sector was also characterized by distribution of free cylinder by the association to some beneficiaries.
I'm happy, I'm grateful. I know they thank you for them. God bless them.
In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris flagged off the police welfare housing scheme in Ibadan with a charge on beneficiaries to redouble their efforts at ensuring safety of lives and properties. Correspondent Rofia Animashan Badmus has details.
The flag-off of Ibrahim Kotum Idris Housing Estate is part of the initiative of the IGP to accelerate all issues that advance the welfare of police officers, such as promotion, prompt payment of salaries, entitlement, and provision of affordable housing.
as a lot of criminals have been intercepted and illicit arms recovered. 20 bandits were neutralized, while 21 suspects arrested are helping with useful information.
Exhibits recovered from the suspects include 24 AK-47 rifles, 4,798 rounds of live ammunition, magazines, cartridges, locally made weapons, 55 motorcycles, cash and charm. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Strengthening commitments of stakeholders to improve sensitization, routine immunization and antenatal care services will significantly reduce maternal and child death in Nigeria. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports that the wife of the President Hajia Aisha Muhammadu Buhari stated this while flagging off the second round of maternal, newborn and child health week for November 2018 in Kebbi State. The report.
Nigeria is one of the countries with the highest rate of maternal and child death in the world. Regrettably, most of the causes of the death among the groups are preventable, and government at all levels in previous administrations came up with programs to address the challenge. But the gravity of the situation remains alarming. Present administration in the country now conduct a biannual event of maternal, newborn and child healthcare week in 36 states and FCT in May and November.
I would like to reiterate my unwavering commitment to join hands with stakeholders in the fight against preventable maternal and child mortality in Nigeria.
There are a lot of resources that are sometimes disconnected, and we hope that if we focus on them, if we bring it to the attention of the state governments.
If we just remember the maxim that we are our neighbors' keepers, that we have obligation to our neighbors. What is the children in the neighborhood doing? Has he fed well? Is he feeding well? Can I assist him? Can I refer him somewhere much better outcome can result?
There are about 2,000 volunteer workers of maternal and child health care in rural communities in Kebbi State. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. It's now back to Ronke in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide. Good evening.
Thank you, Sadia. And talking education now, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has released a total of 107,749 results of some of the candidates who wrote the examination. The result for private candidates 2018 second series was also announced. Mr. Oluwadeni Pekun, Maureen Leo Ajom has details.
The West African Senior School Certificate Examination for Private Candidates 2018 series was conducted in 5-member countries from August 14, 2018 to October 4, in 5-member countries from August 14, 2018 to October 4, 2018. The coordination of examiners and marking of candidate scripts took place at 10 centers in Nigeria, while the West African Examination Council CBT Center in Lagos served as a venue for the electronic marking of 2 subjects.
Out of the 109,902 candidates that sat examination in Nigeria, 63,037 candidates, representing 57.36%, obtained credits and above in a minimum of 5 subjects.
Candidates who took the examination are therefore directed to check details of their performance on the Council results website www.waecdirect.org using the result checker pin and serial number on the candidate's smart identity card used during the examination. Certificates of candidates whose results have been fully processed and released are expected to be ready within 90 days. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
We'd like to go on another commercial break. Do stay.
The National Council for Arts and Culture, Nigeria, cordially invites you to the closing ceremony of 11th International Arts and Crafts Expo, Abuja, INAC 2018, and the launching of International Cultural Diplomacy for Peace. Date, Saturday, 24th November 2018. Venue, FCT Exhibition Pavilion, beside International Conference Center, Abuja. Time, 5 p.m. Chairman of the occasion, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology. Special guest of honor, Mr. Tony Akiotu, CEO and GMD, DA Communications. Royal Father of the Day, Alhaji Ismaila Muhammad, Serki Karshi. Mother of the Day, Dr. Mrs. Gloria Laraba Shoda, National President, National Council for Women Societies. Chief Host, Alhaji Lai Muhammad, Honorable Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism. Host and announcer, Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture.
The inaugural Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit holds on the 27th to the 29th of November 2018. Summit will take place at the Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja, with the theme, Activating Diaspora Investments for a Diversified Economy. For registration, visit www.ndis.gov.ng. For participation and sponsorship details, please call. Email admin@ndis.gov.ng. The Nigerian Diaspora Investment Summit, harnessing Nigeria's investment opportunity.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hate. Source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Join us every Saturday by 10 p.m. for Eye on the Road.
The program from the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA.
We'll bring you highlights of policies and users, as well as those charged with maintaining the roads.
It's interactive, it's informative, it's educative.
It's Eye on the Road, showing Saturdays at 10 p.m.
Nigeria, a land of promise, land of potential, rich in oil, arable land and solid minerals. Yet hunger, joblessness, homelessness and poverty are widespread. Over the years, Nigeria has suffered from hospitals without drugs, schools without teachers, and a huge infrastructure deficit. Clearly, we are yet to reach our full potential. And one of the reasons is because people choose bad leaders. Some even sell their conscience for a few thousand naira. For 2019 elections, don't sell your vote. Don't sell your future. Don't buy the people's lives. Vote selling is a crime against yourself. You will spend the next 4 years paying for it. Vote buying is against the law. Politicians, stop buying votes. People, stop selling your future. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
We are glad you stayed. For 5 years now, the Halima Factor, a non-governmental organization, has been making use of literature and creativity to fish out young, talented Nigerians aimed at rebuilding the Northeast devastated by insurgency. Nafisa Omar Garuba reports that the Nigerian Television Authority was among some of the organizations honored at the 5th edition of the program, which has as a theme, literature and creativity, tools for human and economic liberation.
Themed Literature and Creativity, Tools for Human and Economic Liberation. The 5th Annual Gombe Literature Day, organized by Halima Factor Community Initiative in collaboration with Gombe State University and National Orientation Agency, is aimed at promoting creativity and talent among youth. Literature as a body of reading works that deals with imaginary works of creative art also function in criticizing and affirming cultural values. Individuals and groups consider it worthy in upholding those societal values by creating forums through which they are impacted.
The citizen of this great country, there's something I need to do, give back to the society, give back to the nation, and then encourage other people to do the same, because that's the only way. By the time we begin to give back to the society, that is when our nation will truly develop.
Speakers encourage reviving reading culture and held organizers for promoting creativity. Awards of recognition were presented to agencies including the Nigerian Television Authority.
The award is an honor done to the Director General of the NTA, and by extension the NTA family as a whole. We feel honored and proud to be part and parcel of this program, and we'll continue to be our best to ensure that programs of this magnitude receive the desired attention, and so that Nigeria will continue to remain one.
Student performance and unveiling of magazine featured during the event. In Gombe, Nefisa Umar Garba, NTA News.
Do you know that there are only 2 private universities in the Northwest Zone? A number key players noted is inadequate to cater for the daily increasing number of students seeking admission into tertiary institutions in the area.